Hey everyone, it's Roel here, and as you may all know or don't know, Nintendo officially revealed the Nintendo Switch 2 today, and currently it is 10:51 at night. It is, yeah, as you can see right here. So I was at work when the trailer had dropped. So I didn't want to watch it on my break time. I wanted to watch it with you guys. I wanted to react with you all, give a live reaction. As you can see here, I have my OG Nintendo Switch, and when I say this is the OG, I mean this is 100% the OG, the original. This is from the first year that it came out, so I don't have like the revised model, I don't have the OLED model, etc, etc. And as you can see, which unfortunately it didn't show, but that's what I've been playing recently. I've been playing Super Mario Maker 2 with my brother, and Pac-Man and Undertale. Honestly, like these I don't know, most of these games are third party, but I mean, um growing up, I was always a big Nintendo fan. I grew up with the Nintendo DS, I grew up with the Nintendo Wii, GameCube, but of course I also grew up with PlayStation as well. I grew up with the PS2, like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, and just like any like third-party titles, like, all the Spider-Man or superhero games in general. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I know those were exclusives back in the day, but you get the idea. I've always been a PlayStation and Nintendo fan. And then in my junior high years, that was when I got an Xbox 360 and I played Banjo-Kazooie and, all the multiplayer games like Grand Theft Auto, Halo, Call of Duty, right? So I'm kind of just a fan of everything. But when it comes to Nintendo, I really do love Nintendo. I think their games are very awesome. I mean, you have Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon, of course, even though Pokemon's technically Game Freak, but it's still Nintendo affiliated. And even like Nintendo series that aren't necessarily around, such as F-Zero, Star Fox, Earthbound. And the camera is low-key shaky. For that, I apologize. But without further ado, I think it's time to get into it. Apparently, this is going to be a simple, kind of like just like a reveal trailer, like how the first Nintendo Switch trailer came out with the, I can't remember. Well, funny enough, it's literally on my recommended. Literally the first thing that pops up. Okay, I'm gonna open the video, but I'm not gonna play it just yet, because I wanted to sync with this video too. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Well, actually, do I have anything else to say before I continue? Hopefully the price is pretty fair. I would say 350 American dollars, perhaps. Um, Hopefully there's an OLED variant of this console. If Nintendo comes out and they say, hey, we're gonna release an OLED like later on in the year, I feel like I'll be willing to wait. But if they don't say anything, then I'm going to assume that that means that they're not going to release an OLED until like 2 or 3 years down the line, which honestly I am not going to wait for. That's ridiculous. I think that's too much of a long wait, and by that point, there's honestly going to be a game that comes out that like I just have to play right now, like a 3D Mario or like a Mario Kart, whatever the case may be. But okay, without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and start screen recording, and we're going to make it full screen. And I guess we can keep the volume. I'm going to try to minimize the volume a little. Alrighty. 3. I don't even want to do the fingers. I'm just gonna say 3, 2, 1, and then play. All right. 3, 2, 1, and play. It's going. It's going. It's showing the Nintendo logo. Okay. Okay. OG Switch. Joy-Cons come off. Okay. Bigger screen. Okay. So the Switch is changing. They have a proper stand, not the stupid flimsy like little one right here, which I can't take off with one hand, unfortunately. But you get the idea. It's right there. Okay, Joy-Cons have a slimmer design. They're black. Okay. Okay. Alright, they're having a big emphasis on the Joy-Cons. Hopefully there's no Joy-Con drift, because my goodness, was the Joy-Con drift on this console really bad. I had to get these Joy-Cons repaired. Fortunately, it's free, but it still sucks. Okay, interesting. So the Joy-Cons are magnetic, it seems, meaning you don't slide them down on the rail. Nintendo Switch 2. Okay. Showing more of the console. This trailer gives me... Oh wow, this is Mario Kart. Oh my god, is that a new Mario Kart? Dude, Mario looks different. He looks more like classic Mario. Oh my god, this is a new Mario Kart. Dude! That was a new Mario Kart. Oh my god! Play Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. Let's see, Nintendo Switch 2... Oh, Nintendo Direct, April 2nd. Okay. Nintendo Switch 2 Experience. Series of hands-on events held around the world. Nintendo. Wow. Okay. Hold on. I didn't get to read this part right here. Let me go ahead and read it. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. And within this example, it uses Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So it makes me wonder if, pun intended, it does make me wonder though if this is like one of the games that enhances from what do you call it? From the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware, because I would imagine that most, if not all, of Nintendo's IPs get that performance boost on the Switch 2. You know, kind of, excuse me, kind of like the PS5 where like you can play like Ghost of Tsushima PS4, but then if you play it on the PS5, you get a higher performance boost. But then they also have like PS5 versions of those games. Like they have a PS5 version of The Last of Us 2, and they have a PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima, or like Cyberpunk, right? But realistically, you could also just buy the PS4 versions of those games at a cheaper price, and you would still get some sort of performance boost on those games as well. So what were my thoughts on the trailer? Well, if I'm being honest with you, I was keeping up with the leaks, so honestly, that really wasn't all like new to me. It was kind of what I expected it to be. I mean, the color scheme was right and everything. I kind of knew it was magnetic and not, you know, not like this where you have to push this little latch and you just uh, slide it on like that. I can kind of see why Nintendo went about it with the magnetic approach. But yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty small handheld. As a matter of fact, let me grab my Steam Deck in comparison, because I probably should have brought the Steam Deck with me just to kind of compare. Hopefully that my phone doesn't fall off. Whoa. Okay, I'm definitely editing that out. But yeah, so here is my Steam Deck in comparison. I can barely hold it with one hand. The Steam Deck is like very, very massive. You know, it's really, really big actually. Like, whoa, that is actually really big. And then here's a Nintendo Switch like in comparison, right? So kind of yin and yang. But yeah, see how it looks like from like the back? It kind of looks crazy. I honestly, I do use my Steam Deck often, but I only really use it for like emulations. Like you see like Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, but then you also see God of War there too. Because it's kind of cool to play these games, like these AAA games portably. But it's like I said, you know, mostly, most of the time I just do it for the emulation. Like there's Ultimate Spider-Man, there's Grand Theft Auto 4, etc, etc. But going on with the Switch 2 trailer, you know, it was kind of weird because I feel like the way Nintendo went about it was a little like, what's the word I'm looking for? It was very like bland. Like that trailer gave me such a like fake trailer vibe. You know, like you know how people make those like fan made trailers are like, oh, like this is what the next Switch would look like. Here's like the Switch Pro or the Super Switch. And then they make these like fan made trailers. And I'm not putting those fan made trailers down. I think they're really cool. But that's literally what this trailer gave me. Like those were the vibes that it gave me, which was really weird because I was like, okay, you know, like whatever. So that was a little strange. But other than that though, I thought I forgot to screen record for a sec. That would have been bad. Other than that though, it doesn't look like there's going to be an OLED version. I mean, to be fair, like maybe we do have to wait for Nintendo to say something. But I feel like they would have like emphasized that from the beginning. Like, oh hey, we have an OLED version, but it's Nintendo. I mean, they literally just shadow dropped this trailer out of nowhere. Like they didn't even like make an announcement in preparation for the trailer, which I think is a little strange. Um, but yeah, so looks pretty similar to the Nintendo Switch, and as a matter of fact, there's a comparison right here. This is perfect. This is perfect right here. So as you can see, the Switch 2 is like slightly bigger. I mean, maybe this image doesn't do it justice, but like, you know, it's not really, actually it is kind of a big difference. I'm over exaggerating a little. It does look bigger. Is it going to be as big as a Steam Deck? Like this bad boy? Who knows? But it's probably going to be pretty significantly big because the Nintendo Switch is pretty small. But that's what I like about the Nintendo Switch. I like the portability aspect, right? Because, like, perfect example, you know, you have a game like Sonic Mania, right? I can have Sonic Mania on the Nintendo Switch and on Steam, right? If I had to choose a way to play Sonic Mania portably, I would 100% go with the Nintendo Switch. because Sonic Mania is a simple 2D game. It's a pretty chill game. You know, I want to be like chilled. I want to be like relaxed. You know what I mean? But with the Steam Deck, it's like, oh, well, this is kind of chunky. You know, like I have to kind of like, I mean, it's still comfortable to play per se. It's not exactly the worst thing, but like, if I'm gonna play Sonic Mania, I would much rather use something more portable. Does that make sense? Versus something like so like heavy. Um, you know, because like with this, it's like, oh, if I'm gonna play like Ultimate Spider-Man, or if I'm gonna play, um, you know, like Red Dead Redemption 2, then I don't mind using this, right? Um, but with the Switch, it's like, oh, you know, this is where I'll play my indie titles. This is where I'll play my mainline Nintendo games. Does that make sense? Excuse me. But anywho, probably the most interesting aspect about this trailer was definitely Mario Kart, because at first I thought it was like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because I was like, okay, you know, Nintendo, like that's Nintendo's, that's the best selling game on the Switch. So I kind of figured like, oh, they're just showing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but then it turned out to be a new Mario Kart game, because I looked at Mario and I was like, wait a minute, Mario looks different, you know, and then it hit me and I was like, oh my god, it's a new Mario Kart, you know, Mario Kart 9, Mario Kart 10, whatever you want to call it. Um, so it was interesting too, because Mario seemed to have his like classic design. Like he had the like Super Mario 64 aesthetic to him, like the artwork of Super Mario 64. And that design's pretty cool. I'm glad they brought that design back. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with like modern Mario, but it's still cool regardless. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that like confirms that the next Mario Kart game is probably a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2, unless that's not the case. But anyways, I'm not gonna screen record anymore. You guys can follow the Mario Kart footage, or you can kind of figure out what I'm talking about as I go along. But I went ahead and slowed down the speed so that way we can really dissect this Mario Kart footage all together, because the Switch 2 is a pretty straightforward. It looks clean. Hopefully the Joy-Cons don't drift, because the Joy-Con drift honestly was pretty annoying. It was very stupid. I really do hope Nintendo learned from that. I mean, I did appreciate them fixing your Joy-Cons for free, but I still think it was still bull that us customers had to just go through that in general. But yeah, I do like the sleek look of the Switch 2. I like the black. I like the little like highlights with the joysticks. I think that looks pretty neat. You know, proper kickstand. Seems like you have a charger port on the bottom and top, which is good, because on the OG Switch, it was only at the bottom, which was very dumb, because if you wanted to use tabletop mode, it was literally impossible. And yeah, look at this kickstand in comparison. I mean, what is this kickstand, bro? I remember a lot of people like had thought a lot of people were thinking they broke it off accidentally, but then Nintendo like quickly came out and they were saying like, oh, like it's meant to be broken off, like it's designed that way, like you can put it back on if you wanted to. But it's like, why would Nintendo do that in the first place? I mean, why is it designed that way? But like, yeah, look at that crappy like stand, bro. I mean, what is that? But okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Well, not really. It's a Switch 2 video. But okay, so hopefully I might have to keep playing and pausing, but let's see. Okay, so it looks like the map that we're looking at appears to give off like Nevada, like gas station vibes, like desert vibes. I don't know, like I can't think of like what that aesthetic is called, but it's kind of like you're in like the desert and like there's like a bunch of truck stops and there's just like a bunch of like diners, like that sort of aesthetic. So that's what this track revolves around. Um It looks like there's a, let's see, one, two, well, actually, let me keep playing the footage. Okay. So, one, two, three, four, five, six. So, there appears to be 23 like of the starter lines, which is really interesting because it makes me wonder, like, are there going to be 23 racers per race, or is it kind of just like for an aesthetic, and we're gonna stick to like 12 players? I don't know, we'll see. But okay, so characters that I can see off the bat appear to be Wario, Donkey Kong, Rosalina, Daisy, Toad, Peach, Yoshi, Dry Bowser, Luigi, and Mario. And Mario Kart, Mario Bros. Circuit. So this appears to be like the I don't know, like I guess the first track of the game, I suppose. That's what you can say. Um the carts don't really, well, I don't even know where Rosalina was in. That was strange. Let's see. Oh, actually, that's Bowser, not Dry Bowser. My bad. Um, I can't really tell what carts they're in, though. Um, they just kind of look like generic cars, if I'm being honest, except for Rosalina's car. Like Mario appears to be like in some sort of buggy car, and then Bowser appears to be driving like a four-wheeler. But yeah, Mario has a very like classic design, and Luigi, it looks like Luigi has this classic design as well. Like they look like the 64 renders, even Peach too. That's interesting. Um, let's see. Now the like Switch footage is like transitioning into like the dock, so I kind of have to wait for the rest of the video to play. Because okay, now let's move to the TV. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Mario looks, oh wow, yeah, Donkey Kong also has this classic design. Okay, interesting. Okay. Then Yoshi appears to have a restaurant. There appears to be like two roads. The item box looks a little interesting, and you get to see a lot more characters, but I can't really enhance the footage, I suppose. I'll leave that to GameXplain or like any other analyzers out there. But okay, something I forgot to mention as well is they don't outright say a release date, and on top of that, the Switch 2 Direct is on April 2nd. So that's a little interesting. It makes me think, are we going to have a are we going to have like is this console going to release in June? I mean, I think June would make a lot of sense because when you look at the OG Switch, the way it worked with the OG Switch was they unveiled the Switch in like October or November. I want to say it was October of 2016. And then they came out and said, hey guys, we're going to have like an event dedicated to Switch in January of 2017. We're going to give like more details about the console. And then whenever that happened, they had said, okay, this console is dropping on March 3rd and pre-orders are now live, which, let's see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was basically like a month and a half or like a month and a quarter away. So it kind of makes me think that they are going to do a June release date. because I think May is too soon. But then again, you know, it is April 2nd. I mean, it is pretty early in April because I think the Switch presentation was like pretty late in January. But because this is so early in April, you know, it could be possible that it could come out like the end of May or like very, very beginning of June. So it might not be that long of a wait. But yeah, you know, they didn't outright say the release date, but excuse me, I highly, highly doubt that this console is going to drop in August or like September, because that would be a little strange to me if that were the case. And another thing worth noting as well is I think that what was I gonna say? I do think we might have a like Nintendo Direct just for the Switch, because we still have a lot of games that are coming out on Switch, and that's what makes the Switch 2 kind of interesting, because I do think the first couple of games are going to be cross gen, or I think that's the term. So like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, right? That game is going to release on the OG Switch, but it's also going to release on the Switch 2. But then at the same time, you could pick up a Switch 1 copy and play it on the Switch 2. But there's also going to be a Switch 2 version out there that's probably going to be, it's going to use the Switch 2 to its fullest capability, right? Same case with the new Pokemon game, Pokemon ZA. Legends. That game is probably going to be a Switch 1 and Switch 2 title, right? But yeah, you know, maybe we might get a surprise. I mean, maybe Nintendo might finally drop Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD on the Switch. That would make me very